Okay, this is the Iraqi Dinar today. First article I'm going to talk about is from the Al Monitor. It is a publication from the Middle East, obviously, but they're going to be doing some reporting. They do some excellent reporting about Iraq, so we'll just go along here. The headline here is Iraq's 2019 budget bust IMF deal. It's dated February 7th, 2019. Just a few days ago. Now, Iraq's President Barnum Salih approved the controversial 2019 budget on February 4th. The budget passed the parliament January 23rd after long debates over allocations for the Kurdistan region and southern provinces and amendments that ignored Iraq's obligations under an agreement with the International Monetary Fund, mandating austerity measures until 2021. The Iraqi parliament approved draft legislation for the 2019 budget amid objections from authorities in the southern provinces at 133.1 trillion Iraqi dinars, or 112 billion. The budget, if passed, would be the country's third largest behind those of 2013 and 2014. With a 27.8% increase in spending, it would appear to blow up the IMF agreement. Compared to the 2018 budget, the current one estimates oil exports of 3.8 million barrels per day, a daily decrease of 8,000 barrels. It also assumes a $10 per barrel price increase, which is based on the current market, would be from $46 to $56. Budgeted oil revenue accounts for 88.8% of total revenues. So their budget right now is based on $46 to $56 a barrel of oil a day. So if the oil price goes up, say $60, $70, then their budget for the 2019 year, it'll be good. If the oil price falls below $46, they are going to be in a deficit, or they're already in a deficit. But let's go on here. Meanwhile, tax revenues and fees are set at 6.8 trillion dinars, or 5.7 billion, compared to last year's $7.7 billion. The decrease in taxes is evidence in and of itself of the government's non-compliance with the IMF standby agreement to reform the economy. I want you to pay attention to this. The Iraqi government has always been in non-compliance with IMF. They really just play along with the IMF, I think, just to get their money, get their $2, $3, $5 billion loan from them. But they're not really serious about complying with the IMF standby agreement to reform their economy. They're just not doing it. They've been doing this for what now, since 2003, and they have yet to do any kind of compliance with the IMF or the World Bank, for that matter. So let's continue on here. The IMF required reforms, including raising personal and business taxes to increase state revenue and halting increases to the government payroll. Yet the 2019 budget provides for a 24.7% increase in state employee salaries for a total of 43.4 trillion dinars, $36.7 billion. In addition, the state's domestic and foreign debt will increase by 30.87% to $10.7 trillion, or $9 billion. So their debt is increasing. A source at the Ministry of Finance, speaking on the condition of anonymity, told Al Monitor that members of Parliament did not discuss the budget bill with the Ministry of Finance. They also did not consult with the Ministry of Planning and simply amended provisions at will. The source said, the Iraqi government will file an appeal to the Supreme Court to reverse the amendments and article added by the Parliament. In Iraq's budget process, the government prepares a draft budget and sends it to the Parliament, which is allowed to offer amendments before approving it and sending it back to the government. If the government is unhappy with the legislative changes, it can approach the courts for resolution. The KRG should be pleased with the proposed budget, which provides its benefits not allocated since 2013. So the Kurds have a few comments on the 2019 budget, but it's fair to them since it guarantees the salaries of the KRG's employees, increases the region's share of expenditures from 12.67% to 13.93% of the total budget, and gives the region $2 billion in investment loans. Hama also observed 2019, Hama's the KRG representative, the 2019 budget resolves and some issues ongoing with Baghdad over the years, announcing a fresh start for ties with Baghdad. One of these issues involves oil. The KRG produces 480,000 barrels of oil per day. Baghdad's share from that will be 250,000 barrels. Added to that, there are 150,000 barrels used within the region for daily consumption. So the region will benefit from exporting 80,000 barrels. Kurdistan ships both its share of oil as well as Baghdad's to market through a pipeline in Cyan, Turkey, and then disperses Baghdad its share of the revenue as per prior agreement. The government allocated 1 trillion dinars, 846 million for the petrodollar project, allocating a percentage of oil revenues for oil-producing provinces suffering damage from the industry. The regions suffering the most from production and refining receive a higher share of the amount set aside. For example, Basra are to receive 69.2%, Kirkuk 6.3%, and Wasit 4% in the 2019 budget. The Kurdistan region was excluded. Local authorities can use the money at their own discretion, such as to buy power and send residents abroad for medical treatment and provide other services. So the budget is looking good. Hopefully it's going to be passed so they can get on with their projects. So we'll just see what happens. 2019 budget. Like I said, it's good to hear that they're not abiding by the IMF deal, which is good for Iraq. So if you have any questions, go ahead and make some comments below, and I'll just go ahead and answer them as I get to them. Thank you.